So this now hearings into the work of the Road Accident Fund have concluded with the final report, though, yet to be released. And this week, the fund's interim board at the same time laying bare the depth of financial strain, that is confirming liabilities and also continuing to outstrip revenue in this particular entity, which appears to be a going concern and still is for a long time. The chair of Parliament's Standing Committee on Public Accounts, Songezo Zibi, joining us now, the man tasked with combing through a lot of the work here. Songezo, thank you so much for your time this evening. And each time, one sees that the RAF would be appearing before yourselves, a lot of concern mounts because we know that we are going to be told a lot more of what is going on at that particular entity. Perhaps let's start with the inquiry that has wrapped up as far as the hearings are concerned. What happens next?
Good evening, and thanks very much for having me. So what happens next is that we discuss the report. So next Tuesday, the committee will meet to approve the report's framework, that is the various issues, the structure of the report, and then hopefully by the end of February, we will start deliberating on a draft report. The process is that we will send parts of the report that affect certain people outside the Road Accident Fund and at the Road Accident Fund for them to comment and make further inputs. And then we'll finalize a report and table it for a vote before the National Assembly.
And when you look at the work that you've done so far, I'm going to get to Mr. Letswalo in just a moment, but a lot of information has come your way. Would you say you were able to get a lot more of what you were looking for, or do you still have some information outstanding?
No, we were very fortunate to have both the Ministry of Transport and the Interim Board of the Road Accident Fund cooperating with us 100%. So we had no problem with securing internal documents, minutes of meetings, presentations to board and EXCO meetings, and any other information that we're looking for. So we don't have information gaps from that perspective at all. And I think this experience has been a rich learning for ourselves. The board of the Road Accident Fund has said so, as well as the Department of Transport, because it has surfaced issues that ordinarily wouldn't have come up at all.
And for you, what would be that one issue that is top of mind as far as doing things differently would be concerned in this entity?
No, I think it's a couple of things quickly. The first is the quality of the boards that are put at the Road Accident Fund and elsewhere. It's clear that the board failed to live up to its expectations, number one. Secondly, is that South Africans and the South African government must not bury their heads in the sand. The Road Accident Fund is technically insolvent. The obligation does not match the funding. Even if the Road Accident Fund were to work perfectly from tomorrow, it would still take about 15 years to clear the backlog of claims that it has, simply because it doesn't have enough money. And we should all stop hiding from the problem. The liability, that is the immediate liability, at least let's say over the next 2 to 3 years, in our estimation is north of 100 billion. And the Road Accident Fund gets about 50 billion. That's an additional 100 billion, not just the 50 billion it gets per year. And the fuel levy is not about to double. So the Road Accident Fund as a scheme is unsustainable. In fact, in the committee meeting, I used the term delusional. It absolutely is stunningly delusional that we try and do something like this with so little money.
And Songezo, is it only just the issue of little money, or the management of that which is little is also a concern here when it comes to how it's being utilized?
It's both. The money is too little, and then the management is too little, but also the structure of the legislation. For instance, it's almost inherent in how the Road Accident Fund is shaped, that you are going to spend about 20% of that money on legal fees, because you need to establish that someone was at fault in a lot of cases. Then you need a lot of medical legal reports. If someone is seriously injured, those medical legal reports can cost up to 120,000 rand. So the plaintiff, the claimant, has to pay that kind of money. And the road accident fund has to pay that kind of money in order to have the argument in court. And then at the end of the day, if the claimant wins, then the road accident fund has to pay anyway. Has to pay as part of the disbursements that are ordered by the court. It's unsustainable. So out of that 50 billion that the road accident fund gets allocated per year on any given year, you're looking at about 7-8 billion rand going to legal fees alone, and they're almost unavoidable because of the way the legislation is written. So the road accident fund needs wholesale change. You can change management and boards all you like. The whole system is dysfunctional in my view, and the legislation needs to change.
Sure, it really sounds like, something really needs to be done as far as an overhaul is concerned. But there is the issue that I suppose is unavoidable when one has a conversation around this, and that is the Mr. Collins Letswalo, for example, who we know how he felt about this particular probe you were carrying out, and saying that he doesn't legitimize it, doesn't even recognize it. Does that impact your work at all as far as accountability on that front is concerned?
No, not at all, including where he is concerned, by the way. We gave him every available opportunity. I think I sent, I may speak under correction, over 10 letters giving him an opportunity to participate in the process. He refused. And to the extent that accountability has to be visited upon anyone, including himself, he will not be spared simply because he did not participate. I also wish to say that his failure to appear before the committee under subpoena is a very serious matter, and Parliament takes that extremely seriously. And as soon as we get the concurrence of the Speaker, the possibilities that there will be criminal charges laid against him. And
that is the process that's currently with the Secretary of Parliament, right, to try and get an independent legal opinion. How far is it?
Yes, to put the viewers in the picture. So the committees, all the committees, work under the advice of the Parliament legal team. That's what we did. Because this is the first time anybody has defied Parliament in this way, certainly not a private citizen, then there's no process that has been executed before. So part of what the Speaker's office has to do, together with the Secretary to Parliament's office, is that they must also guide the committee on what process needs to be followed in order to execute on this. That requires, for the removal of any uncertainty, the involvement of external counsel. So it's going to take a couple of weeks to sort all of those things out, but South Africans should not be anxious that people can just defy Parliament and there's no consequence. There will be.
All right. Songezo, thank you so much for your time. Let's see then that particular report. What does it look like? And have conversations about the road ahead then for this entity. I appreciate your time. That is the Chairperson of Parliament's Standing Committee on Public Accounts, Songezo Zibi, speaking to us about the RAF probe, the hearings that they have been conducting. They have wrapped up. And